Former SA Rally champion Glenn Hall stands in for an injured Janelle de Villiers and promptly trounces the opposition in the Toyota 1000 Desert Race Prologue. While Atang Magekaneni and Bucks Carolyn adopt a strategy aimed at earning the Botswana businessman the honour of being the first Motswana to win the grueling event. And 2002 and 2003 Toyota 1000 winners Hannes Frobler and Richard Leek showed once again that they have few equals by bringing their Nissan home in first place on day one.
The South African Off-Road Championship is proudly brought to you by ABSA. Speak to ABSA first for fast, flexible vehicle finance. We can also structure an asset finance solution to suit your business needs. It's really never been easier.
The off-road racing fraternity made their annual pilgrimage to Botswana for round 3 of the ABSA Off-Road Championship, the Toyota 1000 Desert Race, which attracted 80 entries, of which 38 were in the production vehicle category and 42 in the special vehicle category. The Desert Race is the only 1,000-kilometre event on the calendar and has traditionally been one of the toughest on man and machine. But little did the competitors know what the Four-Wheel Drive Club of Southern Africa had in store for them. The event has undergone a major revamp, which included an overnight stop in Gaborone instead of the traditional stop at Manchwabisi, with the route featuring over 50% new terrain. Unseasonal rain had resulted in the usually dense bush becoming totally overgrown in places, and washaways were commonplace. On race weekend, the weather conditions were dry and sunny, with not a rain cloud in sight, so crews could expect a dusty run through the African bush.
Where's the left one first?
Multi-vehicle privateer teams like the Bosal N1 4x4 team, which fields 3 buckies in the production vehicle category, the 5-car Kopanong Hotel Super team, which has 2 production and 3 special vehicles, and the GBS racing team that campaigns 3 Nissan hardbody single cabs, are becoming the norm in the ABSA Off-Road Championship, which augurs well for the future of the sport. Nissan occupies the top 2 places in the Production Vehicle Championship, but former Production Vehicle Drivers champion Janelle de Villiers was missing from the lineup, which meant he would have to wait another year to fulfill his dream of winning the Toyota 1000.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was a bit unfortunate that I fell off my mountain bike, but I guess that's life. It's one of those things. Those things happen, and it's just part of life. And I've got to sit this one out, unfortunately. I'll be a spectator though, which I don't think is going to be too nice, but the next race I'll be ready again and hopefully be able to challenge for the lead again or the win or something.
3 times Toyota 1000 winner Neil Woolrich was in a confident frame of mind.
Well, the odds have got to be good, eh? We've always got to be positive, and yeah, we've won it 3 times before in different cars. And here we're back again in the new Ford. When I say new, it's the same car which we ran last year, but we were here last year with a brand new engine. We had some problems with it, so the car's certainly capable of it, you know, and I'd love to do it again for a 4th time in another car.
The Castrol Toyota team's hopes were pinned on dominating Class D and Class E, with Mark Grenier a key player.
Strategy-wise, I think for us it's more important to finish. We don't have the outright pace to chase the guys down and overtake them. So at the end of the day, this is a long event, and we're hoping to get it to the end. Toyota's reliability is very, very good, and the guys are putting a great effort for this race, and my mechanics have really worked hard to get the car's reliability sorted out. So yeah, I think we've got a good chance in finishing well up in the points, and that's what we need. We need points.
Off-road stalwart Henry Zamatin is 3rd in the Class D Championship and was looking forward to a good run.
We sent the car into the dyno tuners after we changed the fuel filter the first time in a year, and he phones me up. He says, "You've been fiddling with the fuel pump." I said, "No, why?" He says, "I've suddenly too much fuel here." And it turns out because we hadn't changed it for a while, it blocked up completely. So they got us 18 kilowatt, which we got as a bonus. So that was exciting. At least we got a racing car back again. Now we don't even notice the restrictor anymore.
The GBS racing team is made up of a tight-knit bunch of friends who don't let on-track rivalry get in the way of friendship.
There's a good competitive spirit, but it's healthy. The guys are off the race or outside the race. There's a lot of companionship, but inside the race it's everybody for himself, within limits, within the team spirit. We'll stop and help each other. To certain extents that maybe sometimes pushes the limit a little bit within the rules.
Former Class E champions Hugo and Jaap de Bruin won Class E on the last 2 events.
Ouens se bakkies is almal ewe vinnig deesdae. So ons sal moet hard ry om voor te bly en ons hoop weet alles loop goed. Ons voorbereiding is reg vir die bakkie. So hoop maar hou maar duime vas.
Mark Corbett has a healthy lead in the special vehicle category after picking up a second and a win on the first 2 events of the season. But it's Audrey Roots and Dion de Kock in the Class B Global D8D entry who pose the biggest threat to the more powerful Class A vehicles. Nissan Dealer 400 winner Atang Magegheneni enlisted the services of 2-time Toyota 1000 winner Bux Carolyn as co-driver in the Total Jimco.
I'm a little bit rusty, but my driver, he's up to scratch, so I'm relying more on him than he can rely on me. But I'm really looking forward to the event, and I've done all my route marking as per Dakar instructions. I just hope I can play the role to keep him in front.
Former Class B contenders Henry Kirstein and René Juster decided to opt for V6 Nissan Power in the Atlas Copco BAT, which will in future be campaigning in Class A.
I think we're all mad about the desert races. The first sections are always tough. But after that, when the race starts opening up, it's a lacquer race. It's a race for fast cars. And yeah, the horsepower counts, definitely. And I think that's why there's so many cars here. It's because the guys love this race.
Nardis Alberts returned to competition last season after a long layoff and has shown that he's lost none of his racecraft on shorter events. But how would he fare over 1,000 kilometres?
It's been about 4 years since I've done a 1,000-kilometre race, so that's something I need to sort out. But the car's definitely right. As you said, it's a wonder race. So yeah, I don't think there's any problem.
Veterans and former winners of the Toyota 1000, Richard Schilling and Rob the Dog Walk, team up in the Class S Plastotech Raceco for this year's event.
Hopefully with 107 years of experience we can do something tomorrow.
Sun City 400 organiser Audrey Roots and Dion de Kock are the Class B championship leaders.
Now my objective is to stretch the lead, and this is usually a good event for me. I'm not as fast as the bigger cars, but I'm there. I won't fall too far behind, and at the end on Sunday afternoon the main objective is to stretch the lead in Class B and to maybe make up on Mark Corbett, who's leading in special vehicle championship at the moment.
The 30-kilometre prologue to determine starting positions for the main event produced a surprise result with Glyn Hall, who last competed 12 years ago, and Francois Jordan in the proudly South African Nissan, trouncing the opposition by 41 seconds. Hall, who was making his off-road racing debut, was in spectacular form.
I pushed hard, I didn't want to be far back, and I was quite tense, but we had quite a good run. We had a few errors and things, but we were pushing hard, probably harder at the end than I should have been. We damaged the car, which upset me a little bit. We took the headlights out, but yeah, I'm happy.
Nissan teammates Hannes Grobler and Richard Leek have usually had the privilege of starting first on the road. They, like the rest of the Class T contenders, were rather taken aback by Hall's pace and knew that they had a real fight on their hands when the racer proper got underway. Team Ford racing pair Neil Woolridge and Ken Scholthammer were only 9 seconds slower than Grobler and Leek and were quite happy for the leading Nissans to clear the route of stray animals and dense bush in the morning. There was drama in the Kopanong Hotel Super Team pit with frantic efforts to get 2003 winners John Ware-Smith and Jeff Minnett underway.
We thought that the thrust bearing collapsed, and we just took the engine out, checked it, and put the engine back in, and there was a little washer spacer that was causing a little nonsense there. So we've taken care of it, and we're now well ahead of schedule. So.
Despite the pre-race scare, Ware-Smith and Minnett gave notice to the rest of the Class A field that they were the team to beat in the BMW 540 V8-powered Kopanong Hotel Super Team Jimco, but they would come under pressure from Duncan Voss and Henny Tersteege in the proudly South African Nissan Hardbody, who were only 1 second slower. One of Ware-Smith's biggest threats would be Mark Corbett and John Moore in the Century Property Developments BAT, who were only 9.5 seconds slower. Corbett and Moore won the event in 2000, something that Magegheneni and Carolyn, who were further 18.5 seconds adrift in the Total Jimco, would dearly like to do. But they would have to contend with the dust created by those ahead of them in the early stages of the race. Nashua Mobile Racing's Terence Marsh and Mike Whitehouse were the fourth fastest special vehicle crew and almost a minute slower than Ware Smith and Minute, while reigning Class E champions Mark Cronje and Chris Birkin again came up trumps by qualifying their Class D Castrol Toyota Hilux 2.7i 9th overall and 5th in the production vehicle category.
Found it sort of open in sections and then tighten straight up on you, back into the rocks. You know, it's very difficult to look after a car when you get into those conditions. Battle to get into a rhythm because just you can't read the roads, so you have to start relying on the markers, and yeah, it's very, very difficult.
Chris Visser and Joppie Badenhorst brought their Tyco Trucks Toyota Hilux 2.7i home 10th overall and 1st in Class E, only 0.6 of a second slower than Cronje and Birkin, with Alfie Cox and Ralph Pitchford 11th in the Arnold Chatz Cars Nissan Hardbody.
Beats the hell out of working.
Kirstein and Juster qualified 12th fastest in the Atlas Copco Bat, while Hugo and Father Jaap de Bruin had to settle for 13th overall and 2nd in class in the Castrol Toyota Hilux. Manfred Schroeder and Jack Peckham were the third fastest Class D qualifiers in the Team Ford Racing Ranger, and having somewhat of a tough time avoiding the dense thorn bush that would rip decals from vehicles and in many instances necessitate a complete respray. Schilling and Walk were determined to post a good time in the Plastotech Raceco and were the leading Class S qualifiers, while Colin Matthews showed the rest of the Class B field a clean pair of heels in the WPP. Andre Buerter and Beans Heidenrich ended up as Class F leaders in the Kopenhagen Hotel Super Team Chevy that seemed a little wide for overgrown conditions. Shamir Variawa and Nadine Dudier were determined to make up for their non-finish on the Nissan Sugarbelt 400 by being the fastest qualifiers in the Oven Fresh Biscuits Porter. Despite the Porter rolling 3 times, the uninjured crew was able to get it back on its wheels and complete the prologue. The technical crew, led by Danny Porter from the United States, worked through the night to repair the damage, and the crew was able to start on Saturday, but in 72nd place. Production vehicles dominated the top placings, with only 3 special vehicles managing to make it to the top 10.